There is a massive amount of news this morning, and it all starts with Elon Musk. The Doge Commission has been established, officially created by Donald Trump, put out in a press release, and he will be teaming with Vivek Ramaswamy, as I have been speculating. I did think, and quite frankly, hope that Vivek would end up with a cabinet position, that he would be the one executing on the ideas that came from the commission. But that will be whoever's heading up the Office of Management and Budget, apparently. Anyway, that's the setup for now. Very exciting. I think everybody's even people on the left seem to be a little excited about this idea. Markets are tepid this morning, kind of up, kind of down, moving around as a result of probably the CPI coming in right about as expected. And Tesla similarly has been up and has been down. Last time I checked was up about $5, but had been up, like $14, I think, at one point this morning. I think this new range is going to be here for a while. I don't think it's going to go big from very far up or very far down from this kind of range for a little while until there's another catalyst. I said that yesterday. I still think that's true. From AJ this morning, he says, my provisional Tesla price target is $600 per share, implying an 80% upside from the current trading. And AJ will be on my show Friday to explain those findings. AJ, notably, is very close to my 700. I mean, that's a pretty significant difference, but his 600 would put Tesla at almost $2 trillion valuation, market valuation. That's similar to what Dan Ives is expecting. So a lot of folks starting to get into that range for the end of next year at being around 2 trillion valuation. I think that's very, very reasonable and to be expected. From Rains 1220 this morning on X, he says, FSD 12.5.6.3 is the most loved build ever. By combining highway end-to-end and speed profile, the sentiment is at an all-time high, 75% positive. This is the second best in the long-awaited ASS on 12.5.4, and the third in the wide release of the 5X model of hardware 4. So here's the sentiment. He says, pros, 47% praise smoother driving, 30% highlight improved highway performance, 26% notice better lane changing, 19% love enhanced speed control, and 17% appreciated confident maneuvers. Now, there were some cons involved there too. 9% report still having braking issues. I believe Rains himself reported that. 9% miss fine-tuned, even what they want, even more fine-tuned speed settings. 6% says it still drives below speed limits, and 6% mentioned lane selection glitches. Rains also put out a post yesterday where he was talking about the fact that he thinks it's seriously getting down to just 3 areas that still need tweaking, but really getting close here. So Tesla stock, as I mentioned, up in early trading. I think investors just might be relieved after CEO Elon Musk took yet another job. This is according to Barron's this morning. Shares of the electric vehicle maker were up 2.7 at 337.25, while S&P 500 and Dow Jones Industrial averages were up only about 0.2. Now, that's been a little while ago. Very sorry, Mike. Got a little froggy this morning. The Tesla stock move follows President-elect Trump's appointing Musk to a newly created government efficiency post on Tuesday. Musk will be tasked with reducing government waste to save taxpayer money. Investors knew that another job for Musk, who runs Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, and other companies, Neuralink and the Boring Company, was a possibility. Still, there's a risk he will stretch himself too thin, creating a problem for the car company. Now, let me break in right there to just say, I've mentioned a few times before, I believe that Tesla is, and Larry Goldberg didn't agree with me, I believe Tesla is now at a point with all of the product lines that are in place. In other words, the ones that we know about, including Optimus, including full self-driving, including robotaxi, the Cybercab, the new 2.5, Unboxed, all of the big projects that are underway right now, I think they're in the hands of the engineers I think they're moving along just fine. And yes, Elon popping in a day a month, a day a week, I don't know, maybe it's 2 days a week, popping in and jumping down on the line, taking a look and making recommendations. Yeah, it's still going to happen, but I don't think he's needed that much for the day-to-day. So Elon needs to be chasing those bright, shiny objects, and this will be great for him. Trump also named Vivek Ramaswamy to the newly created Department of Government Efficiency. Barron's continues. He can help share Musk's workload. Adding Vivek, according to Dan Ives, he says, adding Vivek is a positive surprise. It wasn't a surprise to me. It should help Musk navigate the situation with Doge. Adding that Musk's proximity to the president can benefit Tesla in the long run. I think in the short run. He rates Tesla shares a buy. He has a 500 price target. We knew that. To be sure, the early move on Wednesday isn't all Musk related. The article goes on, there is post-election volatility to consider too. Tesla stock was up for 5 consecutive days coming into the steep 6% drop yesterday. And I think we'll recover some of that. I might even recover all of it by the end of the week. But again, I think we'll stay in this trading range. Coming into Wednesday's trading, shares have added about 31% since November 5. The rally has taken Tesla stock well beyond the average analyst price target, which is about $240 a share. Morgan Stanley, Adam Jonas rates Tesla buy at 310. We knew that from yesterday. Elon Musk's entry into the political sphere has expanded investor thinking around Tesla's fundamental outlook, said Jonas. Tesla will begin to play a greater role in the U.S. renewable autonomous industrial complex. Yes, but people will be now more aware of it. That's my whole point. His bull case for Tesla is 500 a share. He wonders if that is in play as Musk takes an expanded role in U.S. government. Yeah. Bill Gross is being quoted this morning as saying Tesla is acting like a meme stock with falling fundamentals and straight up price action. Falling fundamentals and straight up price action. Where was Bill Gross in the earnings report where they beat on the margins? Yeah, I think that's far from true. No other CEO, none, zero other CEOs in recent memory has had anything like the relationship with the POTUS that Elon does now. But that's not all. No CEO has the relationships with heads of states all over the world like Elon. No one has built multiple billion-dollar companies or products. No one else has what will be, if it isn't already, the most valuable private company in the world, SpaceX, and the 8th most valuable company that's publicly traded. And he built both simultaneously. Yeah, no, this is not a normal human being. Someday he'll tell us which planet he's actually from. No, Bill, I don't think that this is a meme company in any way, shape, or form. Elon Musk said this morning, Europe should be massively increasing nuclear power. Of course, I agree with that. And I think he should have said, and the US both need to be massively increasing nuclear power. Okay, let me clear up a few issues around this Doge Commission. It is not an official U.S. agency, and Elon and Vivek will not be employees of the government. Therefore, neither the agency nor Elon or Vivek need congressional approval. Doge will be an advisory commission like the Grace Commission under Reagan and multiple other commissions over the years. There's been lots of these kind of commissions, and there's been all kinds of advisory boards and things that have been set up that are not paid, that are not official, that are not what you would call, have to be approved. These are the president's decision to amass a group of outside experts to help him in what he's doing. And he doesn't always want government employees in that job. Sometimes they call it a shadow government, a shadow cabinet. Reagan called it the kitchen cabinet. Anyway, Elon will not have to divest anything to do this. And the commission expires on the 250th anniversary of the United States becoming formed a year from July 4th, 2026 is when it's over, and we'll all be in Iowa having a great time at the World Fair in Iowa. Many recommendations are flowing in with regard to how the government could reduce headcount. I don't think it's going to be that hard. You've got hiring freezes, which are the obvious, then attrition as people quit. And some people will quit just because they see the handwriting on the wall. Then you can require employees that are now remote to show up for work. Then a bunch of people will quit. You can move the location of agencies to far-flung locations. And then that seems to cause people to quit as well. So getting to 2 trillion in cuts, that's going to require a lot of other fixes, but getting the headcount down, I think, will be number one. Now, I've seen some authoritative sounding articles over the last couple of days saying that there's really big cuts that can come in the healthcare area. So expect that to be a major focus. Procurement is one that I know something about and that Elon and Vivek are both expert on. I think you're going to see procurement being a very big focus of how things are going to change. They have also announced that they will be crowdsourcing solutions, looking for you and me to come up with ideas, post them on X, and they'll be looking for specific areas that can be reduced, projects that can be reduced or eliminated, particular expenditures. Some of these ridiculous expenditures. Somebody said this morning, "Oh, why are you worried about the 20,000 here and the 10,000 there?" Well, because if you take care of the little things, then all of a sudden those government employees will recognize that they matter, and they'll be paying more attention to not just blowing money all the time. Okay, CATL is in the news today. Kevin Gunan Shang reports he goes by Kevin G. Shang on, and that's SHANG, not X. So SHANG. So that's how he goes on X. And he says, number one, CATL will consider building a plant in the United States if Trump opens the door to Chinese investment. Number two, CATL has restricted its presence in the U.S. market to battery production and licensing deals, and of course, selling Elon that used line. And then number three, Zhang, he says Elon Musk's bet on 4680 is going to fail and never be successful. So Zhang is the chairman, the founder, one of the founders of CATL, and he's all over it this morning saying, I told Elon this is never going to work. The 4680 is never going to work. You don't know what you're doing with regard to 4680. So I'm just asking you guys, let me know in the comments below. Do you think Elon will fail with 4680? This is more from AJ this morning. I do feel confident that CyberCab reaching volume production in 2026, not just starting production, reaching volume production in 2026. That's a quote from Elon Musk. Volume production, this is now AJ talking, means very large production output. For example, Cybertruck volume production is, by Tesla's definition, 60,000 units per quarter, 240,000 a year. Cybercab will be a much higher volume product. Hence, the volume production Elon is referring to is likely significantly over 60,000 units per quarter. Dare I say it, but this looks to me to be sandbagging. Tesla told us the launch of the production was first half of 2026. How can you reach volume production in just 6 months by the end of 2026? From 0 to 60,000 units? Even if the machine that builds the machine is amazing, the famous unboxed production process, you still need to feed the machine with inputs. The inputs must come from the supply chain. There are lots of highly specialized components in a vehicle, most of which Tesla simply cannot make in-house. Tires, for instance. If it is indeed correct that Tesla was sandbagged, I'd expect leaks coming out of the supply chain in the early second half of 2025. Tesla will be placing large orders, and suppliers need a firm indication of timing in order to spool up their production. From conversations with elements of Tesla's supply chain, AJ says that he learned that Tesla is increasingly moving to a highly customized components in specific applications of vehicle control. Big picture, he says, 2026 is far out, but above carries headline upside risk. By that, he means we could learn earlier about production sooner in larger quantities than expected, all of which could cause an uptick in the stock. From Business Insider this morning, the boss of one of Tesla's biggest rivals thinks he knows why the U.S. public isn't being won over by EVs. Peter Rawlinson, the CEO of Lucid Motors and former VP of engineering at Tesla, spoke on the Cars and Culture podcast last week, that most of the electric vehicles on offer today in the United States, frankly, suck. And he means suck wind. Ask whether EVs in the US have a perception problem. Rawlinson said the problem was not perception, but reality. I think many people have driven EVs that frankly suck. I know because I drive all of the competition. I think the American public has been ill-served by underwhelming EVs, Rawlinson added. Rawlinson, who previously worked for Elon Musk and helped build Lucid, became CEO of Lucid in 2019. He previously described China's automakers as years behind the likes of Tesla in terms of core EV technology. Speaking on the Cores and Culture podcast, he said Chinese companies like BYD were ahead of U.S. rivals in battery chemistry and assisted driving technology, but said they benefit from an uneven playing field due to government subsidies. I think the Chinese do have a fundamental advantage, he says, because when the government says go, they all go in the same direction instead of arguing with each other. A study from the Center for Strategic and International Studies think tank released earlier this year found that China has provided at least $230 billion in support to electric vehicle makers such as BYD since 2009. I'd say there's, he's quoted again here, I'd say they're still behind in terms of the core EV powertrain technology, but don't underestimate them, Rawlinson added. Okay, all that to say, this is Randy Kirk. Please hit like, subscribe, notify. Oh my gosh, programs that are coming up over the next 2 days. You just won't, I mean, it's just going to be amazing, maybe even longer than that. But let me just say for right now, Grant from New Zealand, he ordered up 5 Cybertruck bottle openers, and you should start getting in that mood. You should be going, okay, who can I gift these to for Christmas? Because you should be ordering now, because otherwise you'll get, and it'll be too late, and it'll come after Christmas, and I've done this, and you've done this, and so now's the time. Get your orders in. All the information is down below. It hasn't changed much since last time. Okay, what's coming up over the next few days? All right, AJ's coming up tomorrow. Today, Brian White, I think, will probably be tonight. Scott Walter, I haven't talked to him yet. I'm not sure whether he'll be out tonight or tomorrow. Then we got Cern Basher, and Cern Basher's got his projections for 2025 now too. Oh my gosh. It's going to be so exciting and fun over the next couple of days. All right. The Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers increased 0.2% on a seasonally adjusted basis. That is the same increase in each of the previous 3 months. So I'm starting to be like, okay, I'm not sure that these numbers are real again. One of the things I'd love to see Trump do and Musk do and Vivek do is to get the numbers right and get them real time. I mean, this is just crazy. This is not that hard a deal. They can do this probably in a month. Set up some apps, get the data to come in real time. I mean, Truflation did it. Even if I don't like their results, they did it. They set it up. Anyway, this is the same increase as last 3 months. Labor statistics reported today. Over the last 12 months, the all items index increased 2.6% before seasonal adjustment. You see, that's what we're seeing, folks. We're seeing these prices go up. The index for shelter rose 0.4% in October, accounting for over half of the monthly increase. The food index also, however, created rising 0.2%, and the food at home index increased 0.1%. So those McDonald's burgers just keep going up and up. The food away from home index rose 0.2%. The energy index was unchanged, after it declined last month. Anyway, if you take all that out, you take energy out, you take food out, you come up with the core, and this is the one that the Fed pays the most attention to, still up 0.3% in October as it did in August and September. So that also has been flat for 3 months in a row, exactly the same number. I'm just questioning the numbers because they're not very good at this. Indices that increased in October included shelter, used cars going up, trucks going up, airline fares going up, medical care, and recreation. That sounds like a familiar list. The indices for apparel, communication, and household furnishings were down. The all items index rose 2.6% for the 12 months ending October. The all items list foods and energy rose 3.3 over the last 12 months. And the energy index, decreased 4.9. All right, so there you go. I'm saying that the housing thing we have to take it, we have to keep remembering housing is not about is not about inflation. It's not this, it is a supply problem. There's not enough supply. If we could get more houses being built, and hopefully again, I think that will be a top priority of the Trump administration. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to go about it, but you got to get the builders to build. Yeah, okay, that's enough about that for now. I've got so much to say. Market watch. Historically, what happens next when we have this kind of a bull market for the last year? There have been 8 instances of 36% plus S&P rallies that have gone over 52 weeks since 1995. Boy, that gives us a lot. Eight times. So this is not that unusual. So not everything goes up in a straight line, as investors discovered on Tuesday with the 382 downturn. Gosh, it sounds like what I said yesterday. Wednesday's fate will determined in part by the consumer price index, and it seems to be flat after that. But the enthusiasm in markets is undeniable. Bank of America's latest fund manager survey was conducted both before and after the election, and the respondents who answered questions afterwards had the highest net overweight to U.S. stocks in 11 years. Now, that sounds good for the market, but when you have that many people overweight, what is the likely next move? Anyway, but is the stock market rise going too far? Asked the article. Biranyl, B-I-R-I-N-Y-L. No, Y-I. Anyway, how do you pronounce that? The research firm crunched the numbers on what happens when the S&P climbs 36% over 52 weeks. There have been 8 occurrences since 1995 with gains like that. 4 of those resulted in gains over the next 6 months, and the other half produced losses. There you go. It's 50-50. The average performance after gains of at least 36% is up 1% over the next month and up 4% over the next 6 months, even taking into consideration those times when there was losses. All right, I know we're going long this morning. There was so much news. I had to stop even looking for it because there was just so much to talk about. And I could have talked about a lot of the stuff even more. All right, so Tesla has come down all the way, it's an increase now of 2.28, with the Dow Jones up 38.8, NASDAQ down 50, S&P down 4.85. So as I mentioned, a mixed market. Tesla was, like I said, up about 14 at one point. It is now trending down, not only down, but trending down. So I think that we could see some red later in the day for Tesla. And then, I think maybe it all moves back up again because the overall CPI that you just heard me describing, I think leaves the Fed plenty of room to do their next 25 basis cut. And I'm sure that's what everybody is a little nervous about this morning and why the market is moving the way it is. Of course, the Cathie Woods are all up because why? The bond market is indeed down this morning. Okay, let's go ahead and look at those percentages real quick. We have got the Dow up 0.09, NASDAQ down 0.27, S&P down 0.08, and Tesla up 0.47%. As mentioned, the Magnificent, I don't think I did mention this, Magnificent 7 down except for Amazon, which is up a bit. And most of the movement is very narrow in that movement by the Magnificent 7. So are we still in rotation? It doesn't look to me like there's any dramatic evidence of rotation other than, again, the Cathie Woods doing very well. In fact, Cathie Woods did get a big headline today from one of the magazines, I can't remember which one, talking about that she is back in the spotlight as having done extremely well over the last few months. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the bonds. We have got the 10-year unchanged this morning. Actually, that's up from where it was. It was down several basis points. Now it's unchanged at 4.43. The 2-year down 4.8 basis points. That's a good move. The 2-month and the 3-month both down 1.1 basis points, getting very, very close to parity with the 10-year. Now, one of the things to take into consideration on these short-term interest rates, like the 2-year, the 3-month, the 2-month, these do impact the credit card rates the automobile rates, etc. So maybe we will see some consumer benefit out of these rates being down. All right, let's go on to the oil patch. What is happening this morning? It was down and it continues to be down. 71 cents, 68 for Brent. You've got Brent almost, well, at 71.21, so heading towards 70 with Texas Intermediate at 67.41. Natural gas finally taking a breather. Seems to be having trouble getting over $3. It's down only 0.14% this morning at $2.90. Gold also down, just call it the same as unchanged, and sitting at 2,605. Silver also basically unchanged, up a tad, 0.04% at $30.77. Been sitting in that $31 spot for quite a while. Actually, just changed now as we're talking. Gold down a little bit now, silver down a little bit now, and copper down 1.31% at $4.08. I'm wondering if those changes affected other things here real quick. The 10 years are now down 0.7 of a basis point. So we're getting some action taking place as we're reporting here. The dollar down a little bit against the euro, 0.33, up against the yen, 0.23. Overall, 6-month peak after inflation data overall, the overall basket is peaking this morning. The Bitcoin above 90,000. It looks like a day where it might stay above 90,000, sitting at 91,732. So that is all-time highs right there. And there you go. That is a complete report. Let me go back just real quick before we summarize. Tesla staying in that $2.50 range. Okay, so what do we got? We got so much coming on. By the way, last night, if you haven't looked at it yet, you want to go back. I did the Warren Redlich interview. I'm starting to do my midday show at 8 o'clock at night. So I'm shooting them at the same time, but I'm putting them out at 8 o'clock. It seems to get more action. We'll see what happens with that. I'll try it for a few days. Maybe I'll go back to the regular midday later on. But right now, I'm coming out sometime around 4 or 5 o'clock California time with my afternoon show, evening show, whatever you're going to call it. And then I'm doing I'm shooting this other show in the middle of the day, but I'm putting it out at 8, and that seems to be doing better. Let me know in the comments if it matters to you, all right? And then, so AJ and Cern and maybe Scott and Jeff Lutz tonight. And oh my gosh, I mean, it's just going to be crazy good stuff coming up over the next few days. If you haven't ordered your Cybertruck, that's something you need to do right now before you forget about it. And it helps support the channel. Maybe you can't do the Patreon thing. You just don't want to get involved where you get something coming out every month. But you could do a one-time purchase of some Cybertrucks that would help the channel and make you a hero at Christmas time. Believe me, everybody that did it last year was just praising all over the place about how much people appreciated and enjoyed the gift. All right, I'm sorry, it went so long this morning. It's been great talking to you.